Dear colleagues, thank you so much, Natalia, for introduction me. I would like to add a couple of words about my research field. The key words is it is interdisciplinarity, and actually there are two forms for me. First form, it is the more classical interdisciplinarity in the economic fields, so intersection between development economics and entrepreneurship, which is my main project, which I'm doing in my postdoc program right now. And the second, which started actually many years ago, it is interdisciplinarity between agricultural fields, economics, and art of history. And this is the second form of a disciplinarity which belongs from different fields, which is far from each other. And today I would like to share with you my experience of writing literature review and preparing literature review. So our seminar is based on the three elephants. So the first big part, it is how to write literature review. In this section, I present the key stages, the key mistakes which we can make to do. I will talk about the literature map, and also we will make one interesting handout exercise, how to use academic language in the literature. The second big step, we will see that literature review as independent study can have different types. And on the third big part, on the last part of our seminar today, I would like to draw your attention to the particular type of review. It is a non-systematic review article, because this is the original type of review article which comes from the long years ago. So first part, if we think about literature review, we can have two ideas. First ideas that it is a part of the study. It could be empirical part of the empirical study, or a conceptual papers. And the second thing about the literature review, it is a standalone independent study. And this type, it's called usually a review article. But what I want to draw your attention, that there is the key elements of each of them. Literature review as a part of empirical or conceptual study. First of all, it plays a supporting role of this particular paper. If you write empirical paper, definitely between introduction and methodology, you will have literature review. But another way, you will ask, what is the role of literature review as a review article? It is independent study, and it is considered as a research paper. And this is the first big feature. The second feature, if we talk about this comparison, that literature review as a part of study serves as a theoretical background of this particular study. A review article stimulate the development of new knowledge of the particular field, of particular area. And the third, but not at least, but in my slide right now, that literature review as a part of study, usually called as the literature review, theoretical background or overview of existing studies. If we think about review as a review article, as independent study, usually and definitely 95% in the title, you will see the term review. So, and now the crucial issue, what is actually the point of literature review in both things, if it is a part or if it is an independent study? First of all, it is identify the new knowledge in particular study, in particular field, or in the topic. Reviews provide a critical evaluation of existing literature depending on three focuses. It could be theory, it could be method, or domain. I must say it could be hybrid forms also. This is two statements which you can see on this slide. It belongs to writer, scholar. And the last statement, the purpose of literature review, it is for reader. If you open in the paper this section, or you find a very well-structured literature review article, it is save your time to go deeper in this topic. So, and this is the three purpose which we can remember. On this slide, I would like to discuss with you what is the actually stages to prepare literature review. I'm sure that everybody of us have a lot of experience how to do either a part of paper or independent study. I prepared this slide based on the one interesting paper by Marco Paul Tasso, who write a paper about 10 simple rules how to manage literature review. We can argue that concerning the order of these steps, but more or less this is the really guidelines how to manage. First of all, we have to think about the topic and audience for whom we want to write. The second step, it is the searching the literature and making the notes during the reading, because we can't remember everything what we read. The second step, it decided what type of review we plan to manage and what is actually the need of this review. The fifth, it is very important, and actually it goes up. It is think about what is our research questions. It could be narrow, it could be broad. It depends on you, but later you will see that in different types of review, it could be different forms of research questions. Definitely in any research paper, but also in writing review, we have to be critical and consistent and coherent. We have to find logical structure. And what is actually the good advice? Ask our colleagues to have feedback, because to be at the end more objective than subjective on this writing. What is the last two things? It is again about how to work with the literature, because there are a growing body of papers today. And the idea is don't forget the oldest, earlier paper, but try to find out a new paper, modern papers on this field, which you are planning to review. And all in all, these 10 steps we can summarize on the 4 main stages. So just a recap. We define the topic and audience, and at the end we formulate the problem and our research question. Second step, we conduct this searching process of literature. We think about our sample. So this is a creation of sample literature. The next stage, it is the evaluation. So first of all, analyze and evaluate the papers which we review. And at the end, it is the writing. And we will talk today more precisely that the writing and the last important step in the writing, it doesn't matter, is a part of your paper, literature review is a part, or is an independent study. You have to show what is the contribution, what is the future trends of the paper. So this is, again, we think about the slide of the purpose of literature review. So, and if we think, if we talk about writing literature review, it is now it is important part to think about visualization. So use tables, maybe figures, flow of chart to present complex concept or ideas from the paper. And this is one of the hint how can we evaluate our ideas. I provide you the citation of the paper. It's a paper about artificial intelligence. Maybe I don't talk about the meaning of this paper, but this is the very good example how the writer, so this is the group of researchers, how they manage the literature review and the way how they put the information in the tables. All the reference you can find at the end of the slides later. And one of the modern trends, it use IL tools, for example, to create word clouds. It's also one of the, so to be in the, to know the modern features. So, and if we talk about how to manage literature review, the crucial part, it is the way to make a sample of papers and work with this sample of paper. And now I would like to draw your attention to how can we tackle a literature map. So on this slide, it's just example. maybe you can say that you can manage to already with some particular artificial intelligence tools or some additional technical opportunities. But the idea is the following. This is a just example. For example, we have 35 papers, and our topic can be divided on the 4 concepts, A, B, C, and D. And as you can see, for example, concept A is associated with the 5 papers. But the concept A is connected with the concept B and C, but not with the D. And in the literature review, our task as a scholars to show this connection between different subgroups of the papers and make the bridge between them. To produce such as this visual flow of chart, we can use tables such as the concept metrics for literature map. The idea is the following. So you have the long list of your papers. You know that, for example, you have already 4 concepts, and make short notes. For example, the paper 4 talk about the concept A and B, but paper number 2 only about A. This is the very useful way how to work with the literature. One of the could be one of the idea how to manage it. Another table, it is the synthesis matrix. So here you can add keywords to write what method author use, make some notations from the conclusions or discussion part, what is the limitations of particular study. And the idea of this table and the previous table, these help you to keep all information from the papers which you collect and read, and then on this stage of evaluation to use these intermediate materials for the to at the end to make the final stage writing and make your contribution. So, and definitely the process of writing, it goes without trials and mistakes. And it's interesting to think, what is the typical mistakes? Because when I create this list, I really recognize sometimes I also made the same mistakes. Maybe you find there's some mistakes which are pretty familiar with you. So let's see. First of all, it could be that sometimes we can use lower quality literature sources. I'm sure that it mostly belongs to the students, but sometimes it could be. So the second part, it's that we can organize the writing process from the beginning with not clear purpose. And so that's mean badly organized review from the beginning. Try to omit this. The second, it's a lack of information about the searching strategy. Later, we will talk about different types of review, but I must say that anyway, we have to mention about which criteria we use for selecting samples. So the key issue, the key mistake, it's only described instead of evaluation. We need to evaluate our sample of the papers, which we collect for our review. Fail to present review results. It's also related, it's some relation with the previous statement. The last, not the one of the last of the statement, that omit contribution of studied topic based on the conducted review. So it's important to write what is our contribution on this field. So, and the last point, the idea of review is provide new directions for future research of this topic. Even you write review as a part of your paper, the last paragraph before you move to the second part of your papers will be that I analyze these subgroups of paper, and we see there is a research gap, and that we plan to fill this gap. So this is the idea that review either is a part of the paper or review as a review article. It's a new direction for future research. briefly summary, what is the review article? There are many papers about actually what is a review article and how to manage this, and make some collections of interesting statement to go to this topic I present on this slide. First of all, review article, as we mentioned before, it is a standalone study. Review articles can save our time to go deeper in comprehensive field. This is the second point. I will not read all the statements, but what I want to highlight that these type of articles may serve as a platform for future research, because this is the purpose, to find the gap, to analyze the papers, and to provide the reader that the next step will be to go deeper on particular field. And review articles have the power to answer research questions which can be achieved in the single study. It's also true. And it's better to look on the particular papers, but later we will do this. So, and briefly discuss what is a review article. I would like to talk about why do we need to write a review. And here we will talk about the magic words need of review. And this is the picture, actually takes from the paper of Marco Pautasso. He said that there could be four situations. First of all, we have two trends. The amount of published research is growing, and amount of literature review papers also is growing. And we have four situations. First case, that they are more or less the similar amount, that we think about identification the problem on particular topic. So if we see that the amount of research papers is growing significantly, we have a need to analyze what has been done. And this is the situation number two. So we need for literature review. This is the time to write literature review. The opposite situation, that the amount of literature reviews is growing, but published research papers more or less growing, but not so faster that literature reviews. It could be, there is the situation, particularly in applied fields. So in some interdisciplinarity fields, we see that the people start to analyze different concepts, and they say that we have enough reviews right now. We need to see some empirical data. So we need to empirical papers. And this is the situation number three. And the case, or situation four, this is the point that we have a lot of published researchers, amount of literature reviews. And what is the key point here? That there are a lot of literature about literature as a review articles, and we need to analyze these review articles. This is the more bibliometric approach, but this is the situation number four. So all in all, there is the four cases. Most of us say that they work with the case number two, but some of us can work in the case number four or case number three. So let's move to the next slide. This slide shows you the tree of different types of review articles. The big two groups is systematic reviews and non-systematic reviews. I must mention that non-systematic reviews appears many years ago, before we have computers and all of these technical tools. Systematic reviews more or less receives big push from the computer science, I must say. And this is the subtypes such as bibliometric analysis, meta-analysis. If we talk about non-systematic reviews, the two main types, it's the narrative reviews and integrative reviews. So the idea is the following. This is the point which our term address about integrative review or systematic review, classical format. You can see that there's some, so this is the arrow, line. The point is the following: in the integrative review or critical review, this is the same. Mostly it belongs non-systematic reviews, but sometimes we also can put or say that this paper, this article belongs to systematic reviews. What is the, I can say, the key feature? The key feature is how the writer explained this screening process, how many places actually they devote to this methodology issue, because systematic reviews, the key issue that the scholar writer has to make make some contribution to explain to reader how they create the sample of the paper. And in systematic review, this is the golden rule. And integrative review, this is the bit such as it between these two types. In one side, this is the analysis of different concepts, and I will talk later that integrative review can also have two subtypes. But another side, it in comparison with narrative reviews, it needs to be more precise, explain what is our sample, what is the criteria, because usually if we think about narrative review, this is the key issue. There are many papers in very well established journals. They write papers such as a narrative review, and the authors didn't talk about how they make the sample. This is the typical narrative review. It's not the mistake of scholars, because this is the type. But later today, we will talk which skills scholars have to manage narrative review. So I hope this will be my answer to your questions. Where integrative review located in this tree of different types? What is the connection between systematic reviews and non-systematic reviews? I must say that there is some vivid things actually, so not some challenges actually to really understand where we have to put some of the articles. And in this exercise, I agree with you that to say this is the classical or this is the critical also can be challenged. But if we look on the whole text of the paper, I believe that because these papers take from the pretty well good journal, Group A, Small Business Economics, the writer established and explained actually the choice pretty well. So, and now I want to move, just a moment, yes, I move to the our third exercise, and we will discuss which keywords we can use from these papers. This is this short summary from my side. I hope that you also make some notes in the handout. Again, I provide you abstract to eliminate some keywords, only exceptions on the last abstract where you can see critical review. So, but this is the bonus for you if you go to the last abstract. So the idea is the following. When we read abstracts, we can see, and if these papers published in pretty good journals, we can use some constructions from the sentences and make own notes and use for our papers. And just some ideas. Yes, this is the usual statement, but this is the typical verbs which we can use. That this paper reviews particular topic, paper surveys, or paper provides a critical review and conceptualization. Another issue, as Uliana mentioned, that in bibliometric analysis, you will see already in the abstract the number of the papers. And this is their in bibliometric analysis, even that in the meta-analysis too. And you also can see on this slide, and if you look on your handout. So already in the abstract, again, there are different rules from different journals. Some abstracts can be 500 words. Some journals say, no, only 20 words you can write. So a scholar can already mention about what is the actually contributions, not only one sentence about findings, but mentioned already several contributions. It also can be. So the title of review article, as I mentioned in the beginning, review article as independent study, the scholar, usually 95%, they put the term review. It could be different options. It could be review article or review of recent research, or already indicate this is systematical review. So, and this is just several examples how the scholars from this journal, Small Business Economics, manage the title. So the idea is, if we already in the process of writing, or we plan to write a review article, think about the title. We always think about the title. We contribute some time to decide how to make more vivid our title, but this is the good point, I think, to think about this term review, to make signal to another researchers. Or also it could be signal for us if we want to find we want to find review article to get insight on particular field. So I remember there was several questions how we can comparison between systematic literature review and non-systematic literature review. And this is the short summary. The summary is based on 5 features. First of all, research question. The idea is that non-systematic literature review, if we think about narrative or even the critical, the question will be broad. And it could be, the writer can say, this is the broad question and this is the narrow question. In systematic literature review, the research question will be pretty well defined and specified. The source and the sample. In non-systematic literature review, in narrative review, it's uncommon to write how many articles scholars analyzed. In integrative, it could be. In systematic literature review, we have to do this. We have to indicate what is our sample. If we talk about selection criteria, again, this is the key point. Non-systematic literature review, some scholars can say this is potentially biased. So it could be some subjectively. If we talk about systematic literature review, it is well described. So it's more objective. Another feature, it is the way approach how we make evaluation. So non-systematic, usually it's mostly qualitative. Systematic is generally quantitative. And the last things, it's about the conclusion, so inference. Non-systematic, it's mostly theory-based. We talk about concept. We make some suggestion about future direction of development, some particular concepts in the field. Systematic literature review is mostly evidence-based. As I mentioned before, originally it's arise from the natural science, and they have such as the practical task, and they want to have these evidence, so they will have evidence-based. This is the key features of comparison. So, and I hope this table give you the answer. So, and now, before I will move to the last part of our seminar, today's seminars, I want to talk about, so such as a recap, that non-systematic literature review can have 2 forms. It is a narrative review, such as the subtype number 1, and integrative review or critical review. And what is interesting, if we look on the paper of Tadaro, he said that there is 2 options, such as the 2 needs of writing integrative review. It comes from the, there is a need because there's an emerging topic, such as new topic, and we need to find out new features, or it could be mature topic or well-established topic. So this is the 2 types of integrative review. Next slide, I will go pretty faster. It's just make some additional information if you wish to go deeply to the systematic literature review. But we focus today, the last part of our seminar, on the non-systematic. So if we talk about systematic literature review, there is such as a particular abbreviation, PRISMA, you can find in all papers, all of this type of review, and I make the citation to this paper, Moher and the co-authors, who actually explain, they provide the guideline how to manage systematic literature review. Just one interesting point, usually if paper already have 1,000 citations, it's already good paper. No, I can't say that we can manage, we make decision a good paper or not by citations, but definitely if it's 1,000, it's very good. This point, we can see that the people cited these papers because they manage systematic literature review. And in systematic literature review, in methodological part, we have to mention, according to these guidelines, we manage this. And this is the one of the explanation why so many citations made for this paper. Additional two things, usually you will see these beautiful blog chart. This is the process of reviewing articles in systematic literature review. So there's 4 stages. And again, if you're interested regarding this type, I can recommend to go and be familiar with this paper. And this is the link to this website regarding how to manage and the updated information. So you will get these slides. I will answer to the previous question that you at the end of this presentation, but we will talk about this later. On this slide, this slide shows more or less 6 approaches how we make decision. Just to summarize, this is the purpose of review, it's our research question, search strategy of papers, sample characteristics, the way how we plan to analyze or evaluate, and what intended contribution we plan to do. Yeah. I will start with the narrative review. It's but somehow it's connected with the integrative review. So we have definitely introduction and we have conclusion. Regarding the main body of the paper, some narrative review skip this part description of the literature search. Some papers make 1 paragraph about that. If we talk about narrative review. In this slide, you can see just summary that in the introduction part, we will start, first paragraph will be, we show the reader why this topic is interesting and important. We talk about we talk about our research problem, we talk about the scope and objective. We formulate research question. Again, in the narrative review, it could be broad or narrative. It depends on the scholar. We explain the need. It is very important why we decided to write a review, why it is important. And we also make some, we also show some boundaries that we focus on this field and these subfields, but we not jump to the another fields. With it actually makes sense to prepare reader already in introduction part. This second part, it belongs to these such as how we make our screening process. Again, in some very well famous narrative review papers, you will not meet this point, but this part. But some already, I mean, more modern paper try to include this information. What is information can be happened here actually? We can say what period of time we analyze, such as in our example, as you remember about Dutch disease phenomenon, the writer said that is 40 years, they focus on this period, but they explain because this phenomenon was arise 40 years ago. There is some articles that say, no, I want just to focus the papers, which is published from 20 until 2015. So it also makes sense. Another view, they could be a review on particular type of research papers, only conceptual papers, because some author can mix empirical papers and conceptual papers. It's very popular actually in the papers about entrepreneurship. Another way, it also makes some, it's not actually about the narrative review, it's more about systematic review. But anyway, writer can say that this article take attention on the pay attention on the articles on this language. So it also makes sense. So this is just simply, you can add or it's up to you. Put this information not for narrative review, but for integrative, we have to put. So main body of the paper, as I heard from you, this is some challenge how to made these subgroups. And this is actually, yes, we have to develop the skills how to make these sub sections. And this is the main body of the paper. Narrative review usually don't have the part discussion. They go directly to the conclusion. To the conclusion, we have to summarize key issues. First of all, we provide reader what is the main points after all these work which have been done. We can show, and it's good, we need to show the future directions. We can make already reveal some limitations that we see that there are a lot of papers, but this and this is still weak. We can put some research questions. So some author already put, they make suggestions that it will be interesting to see in the next papers from another colleagues if they continue this direction, and this research question will be answered in the future. And definitely the paper have to present their own contribution to the field. It's not, as we remember, it's not description, it's evaluation of the paper. And now make some recap step by step. Again, narrative review have general structure, but it's not the standard structure. This is we make some so it's up to you. So, but it is a narrative review. Main weaknesses can be arise from the biasness. We can be more subjective than objective. This is the problem. The scholar rely on the 3E: exposure, expertise, and experience. So we, in order to evaluate academic literature critically, it is important. And the last point, that non-systematic literature review, even it's narrative review or integrative review, serves for future research. So this is the idea. It's not only that we want to make some particular overview of existing literature, we want to find out the gap and the future contribution to the future direction. And now the last slides I will dedicate to the integrative review. I make, you can see the references to the paper Taraka in 2005, but then they published additional paper. And in the paper, they actually very well explain how to manage integrative review, and what is the main weaknesses, what is the strengths of this type, and a lot of hints. Generally speaking, there is a three big stages. First, this is the preparation stage. Second is organization, and the last stage, it is a writing. And now we discuss this in more details. In the preparation stage, scholars ask themselves what kind of topic in integrative review literature intended to solve. So, and here, as we remember from the previous slides, it could be dedicated to a well-established mature topic or new emerging topic. The second important question is integrative literature review is most appropriate way to address this research problem. It also makes sense to think about this question. And the third question, we remember about the need of review. So if we answer on this question, that means there's we start our review process well established. So we see the need, we see why we use this type of review, and then we go to the second stage. So one moment. Which is called organization stage. So in this stage, we manage with the screening and creation of the sample actually. If we look on this, I hope not a long list of the questions, we again ask ourselves, how we plan to select the literature for this review, which database we want to use. It will be eLibrary or Google Scholar or another types. So yeah, which words? So actually, it's important when we search the papers to write the own list of keywords. This is the one of the way how to find additional papers. Of course, there could be different additional techniques. Look on the Google Scholar, see who, for example, you have paper A, the main paper, for example, you put in the Google Scholar and see who cited this paper. And then you will see how the ideas from this paper A have been developed in the next years. So it's actually a good approach to find additional paper. So because it's a critical review, and we remember there is some connection with systematic review, we have to think about criteria, be precise with that. And the last point, during the searching review, of course, it depends on your sample. You can make short screen, look on the title and abstract and read the introduction. Or if you have already obvious number of papers, probably you need to write whole paper. So again, it depends of approach. And the last final stage of integrative review, it's a critical analyze and evaluate the paper. So to see what is the strengths and weaknesses. I remember some of you already mentioned about that. To think about what is the omission, what is not well, not enough explained. So this is such as limitations. Think about, again, visualization via tables or flowcharts. What is more I can say? Identify factors or information which make shape the future of this topic. So the direction which we explain in the conclusion, and make possibility for future trends and directions. Maybe write future research questions. So this is the summary we already discussed in the narrative review, and you can see there is some similarities. I remember there was some discussion concerning review article as a secondary research or original research. So the point which is explained before, if we think from the perspective that we use another papers to make our analysis, we consider review article as a secondary research. For this reason, it is such as a false comment, but I remember all of your remarks before. Regarding the D, the sample of analyzed papers of review article, usually we don't have strict limitations. And as we can see, systematic literature review will be much more than this number from which you can see on the slide. If we talk about the narrative review, it could be this number, it could be more. So there are no any limitations. Regarding the third false statement that systematic literature review is potentially biased. No, it's unbiased and it's more it's a quantitative. So this is the three wrong statements. Another statement is completely right, and I'm happy that most of you have these answers. So just make small remarks regarding maybe some important, I can say helpful information during the if you decided to write review article or literature review as a part of the section. So regarding how we can check the quality of the sources, so there is the either we can use university homepage from the Scientometrics Center, so and check what is the quality of journals or Shimaga journal. To manage the sample of papers, I couldn't say that it's always very helpful, but it's good to know these bibliography library management tools like Zotero or Mendeley. So it's helpful because you collect in one program all papers, and you don't need to remember where I save some file in the on the computer. And to make some visual additional stuff, such as the I can recommend to use, for example, to use for Sweaver, and there are another many other programs, but it could be useful. So, and concerning the references, there is the to prepare the slides, I use papers regarding the theory how to write literature review, and there is the references regarding the examples which we managed today in the handout exercises. But now before I recap some additional comments and answer to your questions, if you have, I would like to give the floor to Natalia, and they have some additional information to you. Thank you so much for this, that you joined today's seminar, make the discussion. It was interesting to get to know your experience, and we can see there is the same things with us. And I hope that you enjoyed today's session, and if you decided to go deeper to some particular type of review article, or to get additional points and remarks, you can find these reference lists interesting for you. I can say that paper, for example, from Snyder and Paul, they gave you the main the whole feature about the writing review. And actually, I must say that much more types of review articles exist, and it's more than 10 types, but it's a very narrow perspective. But we have to know that there are the main, we talked today about the main types, but it could be more. So, and in today's session, we focus on the non-systematic literature review, because I can suggest that most of us work on this type, but you also can find two papers actually about systematic literature review and how to manage meta-analysis and bibliometric analysis. So yeah, and if you're interested about entrepreneurship fields, these articles can be useful to see how the scholars managed this task, how they write the need, importance, and value of review articles. Yeah, this is from my side, and if you have some questions or additional remarks, I will be glad to know. And yeah, and thank you again for your time and that you joined today us.